Welcome to the Ramon Foster Show, brought to you by the Get Go Cafe and Market, where they're open for business, serving hot, fresh food 24/7. Hi, Moan.
Hey, DK. How are you today, man?
I don't know. It's Thursday. You know, we're getting there.
Pre-Friday. We're almost there.
Pre-Friday.
Keep pushing.
Pre-Friday is an upbeat perspective that I can appreciate. Moan, there's been a lot of discussion, both locally and nationally, about the disparity of the spending that the Steelers have right now between their defense and their offense. Like, I don't even know the exact percentage, but an enormous amount is being spent on the defense, and the offense costs almost nothing. Any thoughts on that? I mean, other than the obvious that they have a bunch of kids on offense.
Well, yeah, that is the most obvious take you can have. But I'll almost say this. When you have a quarterback, it's easier to kind of do those things, because I've always kind of said that's the one position that moves the ticker when it comes down to how good or bad you're going to be. I continually bring this. We've seen franchises just pick quarterback, pick first rounder, sign a free agent to find the guy. We're watching currently the Indianapolis Colts. They've been going to get mercenaries for the most part when it comes down to them being good, because if you find that right one, you can end up being a playoff contender. It's one position. Defensively, though, I always kind of say those guys are idiots a little bit because they just run and hit. But there's controlled chaos to that, though, DK. You got to be able to find guys that know how to have gap integrity. You got to know to have guys when it's time to drop, you drop. You got to be able to have linebackers that don't have their eyes in the backfield when it comes down to play action. And the same goes as far as secondary, too. One mistake defensively can be a bad day, which means 6 points on the scoreboard. So I think finding guys that you can cultivate defensively, which Pittsburgh has done, signing Minka, bringing back Terrell, having guys like Cam Sutton that's there still, Kilo, like you have those type of guys. You say, I need to go ahead and keep them because it's much harder to find guys that can play defense in the NFL. I'll always give them crap because I'm an offensive guy, but the art form of being able to have a defense that can make you plays. And also, DK, as much credit as we give the offense, they are the reason that you win. And before, like, everybody wants to give Tom Brady all the credit in New England because he rung it up. He was the face behind the championships and what they did offensively. But if you really break it down, you look at that team that New England had when they were really just pumping and just winning Super Bowls. That defense that they had has always been a top 10 defense. They always capitalized on turnovers. They always capitalized on getting the short field for that New England team. And if you say, okay, well, Mom, what about Pittsburgh? It was the exact same thing. We kind of talked a lot about that, DK, as far as this defense is too good for us to be sucking the way we are. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, no, there's no question about that. There's no question. And this defense looks like it could be, I mean, everyone gets into numbers, top 5, top 10. I don't know. Where I was thinking about them was probably top 10 before the Ogunjobi signing, but then even then, we don't know that Ogunjobi is going to be healthy.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, where the payroll issue is concerned, the salary cap investments that are made. So much of it just comes down to the quarterback. This is, I mean, it's just, do you have a $40 million quarterback or do you not? And the Steelers very clearly do not. I mean, that's not a criticism. That's on paper. No, and if and when Mason Rudolph gets traded, you're actually going to be spending even less on the quarterback position. And you can go left to right on the offensive line is where actually the money's being made, but the tight ends are children. The wide receivers have yet to be paid. The running back is yet to be paid. Where is the money going to be spent? Where are you just going to hand it out?
Let's be real. If you can afford to build a team up and then set it up for a young, like, franchise quarterback, that has been the recipe. Unless you're the Los Angeles Rams, as far as chasing the Super Bowl, Kansas City did it with Patrick Mahomes, okay? That's what the Bills were going to do before they had to pay Josh Allen, and now they have a really good team. You either have an owner that will overspend out of his pocket for a quarterback, the same way the Rams, the same way that the Bills did, and we'd almost go to Tampa and say they did the exact same thing too, where you hinge it on the fact that, look, we're going all in for a guy out of our pocket because we have the team to surround him. But this is what's afforded. I honestly do think that's what the Chargers are trying to do right now. The Los Angeles Chargers. They're trying to get as much as they can out of a rookie contract before they actually got to spend that money and the new TV money come in.
And Cincinnati's probably not a whole lot different, you know? I mean, why do you that's a perfect scenario there. You draft number 1 overall quarterback. Yep. You don't really have to pay him for a while. Certainly not, crazy money. And so you say, all right, well, we can still get this player and this player over here and this player. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Mahomes gets paid, what ends up happening? Oh, look, this guy left and then that guy left. And there goes Tyreek. And then it's like, okay, it's just a different vibe to the team. There's a different level of depth.
So it sounds like to me, and it's a little bit with myself too, it's almost uneasy to build a team like that. Because
I would think so.
It is because you just don't know what you're going to get out of a young quarterback. Also, like if you were to put Joe Burrow in this Steelers offense, I think everybody in the world say yes, they're probably number ones in the AFC. So as far as getting to the Super Bowl, is that fair to say? You got an offensive line.
I think a lot of Cincinnati's wide receivers, okay? I think a lot of their wide receivers, okay? And I think more of their wide receivers than I do of Pittsburgh's. And anybody who has a problem with that, prove me wrong.
Okay, but we're talking about the talent, though, of Joe Burrow, too. I mean, let's be real. The same wide receivers.
I'm not suggesting Burrow's a separator, Burrow's a separator for sure.
And that's where I mean as far as the comfortability of going to get that type of guy. If it's not Kenny Pickett, and you surround them, well, guess what you'll be doing? You'll go get another quarterback. And I hope that's not the lifestyle that we're about to live and go through as far as quarterback after quarterback. But it seems to me that they have done a really good job of surrounding him with talent. It's a matter of Deontay getting paid. We've already saw Chase Claypool say that he feels like he's a top 3 wide receiver in his league. And with that type of mindset, and you got Frymouth, and then you get an offensive line that builds chemistry together too. I know a lot of people are counting Coach Tomlin and his team out, but I'm a little bit more optimistic because I know the DNA of it, DK.
Yep, and there's a certain second-year running back who hasn't gotten paid yet either, but he's going to have an impact too, and he's going to have it at the ideal age. When we come back, which side has the most pressure on it, offense or defense? Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. And Moan, we're talking about offense and defense, and comparing offense and defense. And remember the talks, and I think this is what you were referencing in the first segment that we used to have about, we're out here and we're scoring a zillion points, and it'd be nice if we didn't have to score a zillion points every game. And you were trying to find gentle ways to say it would be wonderful if the defense would just be, okay. Yeah. And that's a very, very normal thing in a football setting. It's not what you say publicly, but it's definitely what's said and felt behind closed doors, isn't it?
It is, man. And like you said, those are private thoughts you have, the team within the team type of thoughts. Like, I can have individual goals within the team concept. I think offensively, we can have goals and be good within the team concepts in hopes that our defense or special teams is going to back us up. So you ask the question, where's the pressure? Who has the most pressure when it comes down to it this year, man? And I honestly do think it's offense. There's so much that's unknown about what the quarterback is going to do.
Wow. I was not expecting that answer.
I got
it's not often that you surprise me. Like, I thought, wow.
I don't
really?
know who I'm turning into, DK. I don't know. But I say the offense has the most pressure because the defense is a proven commodity at this point. They just are. if health and all goes well, even Devin Bush getting back to his old form, this defense is going to be daggone good. It just is. And I don't care what anybody says about it. They're going to be good, man. Where you rank them, that's neither here or there. As long as they get the job done is how I'm looking at it. Offensively, though, and this is what we've had these conversations. I'd go up to you or you come up to me and I'd just be like, man, we're scoring tons of points and we're also giving up tons of points too. And we kind of saw this a little bit from the Steelers offense last year. The defense would get turnovers on the short field and you get a field goal or you get no points or there'll be another turnover. And that's something that kind of bothers you as a team. It bothered me as a teammate sometimes where even for us, when we were just trying to figure out where we were going to be offensively, there were times in which I felt bad for our defense because we were stagnant. We couldn't move the ball. First, second, third down, we might have got 4 yards. And you feel that pressure as an offensive player because within that defense and that offensive side of the ball, you think to yourself, I got to be a good teammate. DK, if you give me the ball on the 40-yard line going in, and we net nothing, you got to feel that pressure. And that's where this team is going to be, I feel like, this year. And look at it also. Offensive line got broke off. If they're having a bad year, not able to run the ball, what are they going to say, guys? What are we going to say, DK? And as much as guys say, I don't pay attention and this, we scan the papers. We get the tweets. You kind of know what the consensus is from your fan base. And there's a lot to be had. And the other guy, Mitch Trubisky, if he's QB1 on day one, the pressure that he needs to have a second career is going to be heavy.
I'll tell you what, here's how I feel about pressure, Moan. I feel like, and I see what your point is regarding the defense. They're just expected to be good. And now that you have, Keith Butler was, he'd been around for a while. Let's put it that way. And when you're talking about public pressure, what piles up on the coordinator over the course of time is unlike anything else, even what's on the head coach. So I think that with Terrell Austin there, with Brian Flores there, with the defense looking solid, I agree with you. I think it's going to be something where it's just expected. And you know what? The truth is, it's probably just going to happen. But I can't even put pressure on offense. Here's why.
Really?
I take all of the concepts of pressure and I roll them up in a big wet ball and I throw them all at Matt Canada. Everything is on Matt Canada, Moan. Let's not pretend otherwise, okay? Because this was the way this was all supposed to be, remember? You wanted a mobile quarterback. You wanted somebody who could roll out. You wanted somebody who would do play action. Okay, here you go. Oh, you wanted to run the ball. Oh, here's a first-round pick. Just went to the Pro Bowl. You wanted a better offensive line. We just pumped $40 million into it. Where are your results? You wanted a tight end? Here's Pat Freiermuth. How about wide receivers? George Pickens was just added to the guys you had. Where's the pressure there, Moan? It's not on the players. It's not on the players. It's on the coordinator. I really believe this.
So I'll add that into to my offensive side too. You're 100% correct, and I'll mention this too. I saw a clip where Coach Tomlin mentioned, speaking of just non-pedigree type of stuff when it comes to coaching, and I kind of retweeted it also, and I put a caption behind it. I was like, a lot of times players get into situations where coaches use the excuse where he's uncoachable. I need a better guy. No. To your point, you're saying this. It's on you to coach. You're paid to do it. I don't want to hear no excuse about how young. I don't want to hear an excuse about their new guys. You're not into any of that. What is this, year 3 for him? Or year 2 or 3 for
Well, it's year 2 at coordinator. He was also the quarterback's coach for a year before that.
I think that's fair. And we've yet to talk about him a whole lot, DK, and I can't wait to get more into that as preseason steps up. And when we get our eyes on him at camp, also about what this offense is going to look like, because they don't give everything in camp, but you see a real good thesis on what this offense needs to look like in camp. If they're having bad day after bad day after bad day after bad day in camp offensively, is it fair to say we'll side eye Matt Canada?
Probably doing that already. When we come back on the Ramon Foster Show, it's the Hey Moan segment. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. It's time for the ever popular Hey Moan segment, and today's entry comes from a comment on our site on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Mr. G says, "Hey, little Foster." Oh, wow. People have good memories.
Little Foster. It rains. It still rains.
Lives on. The other day, DK wrote on the site about our two young defensive line guys. He said that DeMarvin Leal is a stronger pass rusher than run defender, and that Isaiah Loudermilk is the opposite. So my question is, which is the harder skill to master? And which of these two players, based on that, should develop faster? Can you share any observations about the young guys that you've gone against or have developed more quickly, and why? Love the show and the chemistry and all that other stuff. He says a bunch of nice things. What you got, Moan?
As far as which skill is harder to keep up with, I would probably go with the pass rush, because the moment that you can't do that skill, the moment they'll find somebody else to do it for you. If you come out of college and you are in college, I think a lot of sacks, it's like 12 in a year, and you never actually tap into that in your career in the NFL, you're known as a pass rusher, you better be able to do that at the next level. It should translate over, simply because that's the one thing that you're good. And it's also a high value situation too. This day and age, with the way quarterbacks air the ball out, the way wide receivers are involved in the passing game, and the way they create for them, the quicker you can get to the quarterback, the better it is for you as a pro. Now, the run stopping aspect of it too, that simply comes down to technique sometimes. One of the best run stoppers I've seen was Hokey Bro. He was always good at holding his point, holding his pivot, and just doing his job. Again, this would
be Chris Hoke for those of you who wouldn't be able to line up what a Hokey Bro is. He does that, though.
I do that. My bad. That's teammate talk right there. Sorry about that. But he was so good at it to where it was of value. Now, the opposite side of it is you can be real good on first down, stopping a run, then a 2nd and 10, and it turns into a pass rush. That's where I said the pressure to be good at getting after the quarterback, it really ramps itself up, simply because you don't have to be good at just one time being on the field. You got to be good on 2nd down, 3rd down, and then you may have to stay out there again for 1st down, depending on what type of set you are in. And this is the other side of it too. If you got a real good run stopper on your team, teams will find ways in the personnel to get you off the field too. So again, it's better to be good at the pass rush in today's NFL than it is the running game, simply because you can find ways off the field if you're just good at that one simple thing. So with Loudermilk, it's in his best interest to really develop that this camp, because having a young guy like Leal is something that's going to be a challenge. He's going to feel that pressure. Loudermilk is going to feel that pressure of, well, man, I got to find my spot on this team. And it's got to be in one-on-one pass rush in camp. It's got to be showing up in the preseason games too. If the run stopping is just a bonus right now.
Yeah, it feels like, to an extent, in all of the conversations that I've had with players on both sides of the ball, that the other component in this is that pass rushing involves certain physical tools that might or might not be there for a certain player. We talk about separators. This is a separator. It usually is a separator a lot earlier in your career than when you get to the NFL. You either have that quickness or the quick twitch or the ability to carry a certain amount of weight to get to the quarterback, to close on the quarterback. And if whereas run stopping, just to complete the thought here, whereas run stopping, and we hear this from Cam all the time, is, stay in the gap integrity, stay. Well, a lot of that's just up here,
Yeah. Yep. And I'll say this as far as what's value and how it's kind of viewed. I don't think anybody really batted an eye other than the school he came from out of college. But when Alex Highsmith came in and you saw that flash of pass rush, you saw he had hip flexibility. You saw he can bend and at least get to the quarterback. I feel like it kind of made you easy in the way he was going to transition into this Steelers defense. That's just one guy in particular when we talk about value, DK. And again, what was one of the things we had to speak of when it came to him? oh, he's got to get stouter in the run game. Well, guess what? We can work on that a whole lot better than we can his pass rushing skills. So I'm appreciative of the fact.
Yeah. That's the way to look at it. I mean, that's the whole. I mean, James Harrison used to say that regularly. If you're talking about sealing the edge, that's not an option when you're playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't just be a pass rush guy. I think back to the last guy that the Steelers had that was really just completely one-dimensional on the outside. You have to go all the way back to Kevin Green. I think to an extent, Jason Worlds wasn't the greatest run ceiling guy on the end. He was able to get to the quarterback. Now we're getting to outside guys, which is a completely different discussion than what was brought up. So the defensive line pass rushing. Go ahead, Moan.
I'll just say this one guy that I had a huge respect for, and when I mention his name, you're going to be like, yeah, and I describe his job, Gerald McCoy. He stops the run on the way to the quarterback. That's how you look at him. Fletcher Cox is another one. Stopping the running game on the way to the quarterback. The ones that are dynamic, Cam Hayward even. Stopping the run on the way to the quarterback.
That's a really good way of looking at it, because I think when Cam is at his very best, he's got both of those pterodactyl wings out, and he's just taking bodies with him. Whereas I think more with Fletcher Cox, I think of him more as just being that guy that just finds a way to rifle through. But again, he takes care of other things along the way. That's a really, really good point. Moan, you're good at this, man. It's almost like you played in the league or something.
I don't know. I may have had a side gig here for a little while, 11 years, no big deal.
We'll do one more Ramon Foster show for the week tomorrow. Thanks to everybody for watching, and we'll see you then.
We'll see you then.